Hey everybody, welcome back to Video Game So today I got a fun and exciting episode for you guys today because we're playing Virtua Fighter 3 Team Battle Online on the AllNet multi-system. And the reason that's exciting was because it was only made available a few days ago. There is a dump of this game out there now, and now you can run it on your PC for absolutely $0 and have fun with maybe what is considered the most divisive Virtua Fighter game out there. Before we get too far involved though, do me a huge favor, go down below, hit like and subscribe, and ring that notification bell. Definitely helps us out. And if you feel so inclined and want to support the channel, we got a Patreon link down below as well. But again, down to fans, emulation makers, as well as preservationists, you're going to be able to play this thing on your PC today. And it's not like we're starved for ways to play Virtua Fighter 3. You can of course play it on Dreamcast, you can play it on Naomi, or you can play the Model 3 original, and that is what this game is based on. But Sega basically trotted this thing out to arcades about 18 months ago in Japan just to give the Japanese community more ways to play online, because even in North America we kind of consider this to be the black sheep of the overall Virtua Fighter family. In Japan it is a lot more loved and a lot more competitively played, and honestly I always enjoy Virtua Fighter 3 because it is the first Virtua Fighter game that I spent a ton of time with. I do remember having Virtua Fighter 2 on Sega Saturn and enjoying it, but I imported a Dreamcast back in the day from Japan, and the two games I picked were Sonic Adventure and Virtua Fighter 3 Team Battle, and I absolutely played the ever-loving hell out of it. And it's one of those things, Virtua Fighter 3 is getting a little bit of resurgence in the last couple of years. More people out there are learning about the game, more people are playing it, and getting a little bit more competitive with it. Now, I'm sure we saw something like this because Model 3 emulation ended up in the Yakuza or Like a Dragon franchise. I'm never going to not call it Yakuza because that's what I knew it as when I first started playing it, but you're seeing stuff like that from Sega, that Model 3 emulation getting so much better. Now, of course, we do have Supermodel as well, so you can play the Model 3 original, but it's going to be a little bit different of a process, a little bit different of a game overall. But as we move into the next match here, this is absolutely stunning, looks incredible, and looks every bit as good as I remember Virtua Fighter 3 looking in the arcades back when I played it on the Model 3 original in Vermont at the Dream Machine. And then when I realized it was coming home, I absolutely had to get a copy of it. Now, of course, on the left and the right, you're going to get more content here because it is online, and it is having that moveset as well. So you get a 16:9 presentation, but it still persists in that 4:3 aspect ratio, and honestly, even no 16:9 in Supermodel, I think looks incredible. There's something about the actual aspect ratio maintaining 4:3 that just makes the play space feel more efficient and more like it should, because obviously Sega's developers designed all of the different looks and all of the different stages to basically show the content on that 4:3 aspect ratio is moving in and out of view. So here it kind of just keeps that same image going. But as far as this running on PC, it does an absolutely outstanding job. You don't need to bring a massive PC to the party, and big thanks to the moderator of my Discord, the Cool Pup, for helping with some of the footage this week on the capture. He keeps me updated with a lot of the emulation news on the arcade side of things that isn't MAME that maybe I didn't hear about, because trust me, there's so many different launchers, loaders, and emulators out there for arcade titles. It really can be hard to keep up with every single one, but knowing that this game just got made playable in that launcher a few days ago is just a straight up 10 out of 10 in my opinion. And you'll see here, going from the AllNet version of the game to something like the Supermodel footage, you can tell the difference here. And honestly, like I said, in 16:9 it is a fun look, but there's something about the 4:3 aspect ratio that I just think looks better. If you leave me a comment down below and you tell me 16:9 or 4:3, how do you feel about it and which one do you like more? And also tell me your opinion on Virtua Fighter 3. I know a lot of people out there don't love it, but I think it has a lot more going for it than most people give it credit for, and now being able to play on PC easily is just going to be that much more fun, because as far as I can tell, this never came to North America whatsoever. There might be a few cabinets out there at around one because they do import some Japanese stuff from Sega where you can play the game, but I've never seen it, so if you have, do tell me. But it's soundtrack sample time because this new version sounds incredible, and I'll be right back with more.
Fight one, ready, go! Ring out! Fight two, ready, go!
I mean, it sounds exactly like Virtua Fighter 3 should, and that is a good thing. And playing this thing on PC with a nice arcade stick, I think now might be my favorite way to actually play the title. Because don't get me wrong, every time I talk about Supermodel, the Model 3 emulator, I tell you guys just how incredibly amazing that thing is. But honestly, 3-Team Battle Online is my new favorite version of the game, and it's really nice having all of the moveset on the right-hand side of the screen, and it just feels like a slightly more updated, slightly more fun version of a game that I absolutely love. And of course, we're playing it in single-player mode here, but it is team battle, so you can do that as well. Now, if we take a look again over at the Dreamcast version of the game, it definitely is a graphical downgrade, and I think that's maybe what a lot of people weren't super into back in the day, knowing that they thought the Dreamcast was going to be Model 3 perfect and realizing it was the same fun game, but it definitely had some downgrades here and there. But honestly, seeing this run in your living room or bedroom in late 1998 if you imported a console still felt like magic. Now, as we move to Shun's stage here with the undulating platforms, again, this version on PC just looks outstanding, and I hope that Sega continues to use this Model 3 emulation they developed in-house to bring basically over the entire library, because for as many games as there are in Yakuza right now from Model 3, and maybe even on the ALLNet system, there's still a ton that we don't have, and there is a lot that you can run on the ALLNet launcher as well. It isn't just something like Virtua Fighter 3 Team Battle Online, so you should definitely check that out. I will leave a link to a wiki down below, but you'll have to find the rest of the assets yourself, because of course this is more of a modern release for Sega. But honestly, this is what I love about Sega, and I want to see them do more of. Make more of these experiences, bring the final version of Virtua Fighter 4 over to ALLNet so we can play that as well. It's one of those things, there's so many different variants of pretty much every single Virtua Fighter game out there, and some of them are arcade exclusives that never came home, with Virtua Fighter 4 Final Tune probably being my favorite release on Naomi 2. So it's one of those things, having this available, being able to play it with no subscription required is awesome. And just so you know, it also runs on Technoperiod as well, and apparently that subscription has been removed because this game obviously is available to more than one plays. But it's one of those things, multiple ways to play a game, always incredible, and having this working in the ALLNet multi-launcher and dumped as of a few days ago, just a ton of fun. And there's something so iconic about Jeffrey's stage here, with that gigantic full moon in the background and all the water around it. When I first saw this game run in arcades, I was just absolutely blown away, and even if it did take some downgrades coming home to Dreamcast, I was still impressed as hell when it came out and I was able to play something like this in my own bedroom, because back then, coming from PlayStation 1, Saturn, or Nintendo 64, Dreamcast really felt like the evolution of 3D hardware, and it really did feel like arcades at home, even if it did have a few downgrades. But this is just one of those titles. I've been playing Virtua Fighter 3 basically year after year, every once in a while, and having a new version of it to play at home is going to be a lot of fun, and I'm glad that there is a resurgence as far as the reputation of this game. Apparently in Japan last year, they had a 300-person Virtua Fighter 3 tournament, so you can definitely tell there is still love there for the game, and I'm sure that's why it ended up coming back to arcades. But one more soundtrack sample, 35 seconds, but come back and I'll talk more about the launcher and how you can use it.
Fight 3, ready, go! KO! Game over!
So if you want a tutorial on this launcher and all the games it can support, leave me a comment down below and you tell me, because on the tutorial front, those are things I always like to hear whether or not you want to see them before I make them, because they take basically 4 times as long as any other video. Some of them do extremely well, others basically don't do views whatsoever, so I'm never quite sure outside of the mainstream consoles what it is you guys want to see. And the reason this works so incredibly well is just because at this point in time, obviously, every single arcade in Japan, every single arcade in the US, the machines on the floor that are modern are just PC parts in a box. So obviously if you have a PC at home, you got an arcade port at home as well for all of these modern releases. That's why you see more modern arcade games functioning on your PCs today, and that is always a good thing, because it's preservation as well as fun. Because this version of the game never left Japan, there'd basically be no way for you to play it outside of this preservation and launching system, and it's not like Sega's losing any money here because they don't sell it here. Obviously you can feel however you want about that, I'm sure I'll hear about it in the comments. But Virtua Fighter 3 Team Battle online on the ALLNet system. It's going to work on your PC today, and that's part of the Virtua Fighter resurgence, because obviously Sega's already showed some teasers for Virtua Fighter 6, and I'm sure a lot of that game getting greenlit are these other releases that came out to arcades and even home consoles in some instances, showing that Virtua Fighter was still popular and people still wanted to play it, because it's one of those things. Virtua Fighter 3, 4, and 5 I still play to this day, and I can't wait to play Virtua Fighter 6, but for my money, if I want to play again, I'm going to go to the ALLNet multi-launcher and I'm going to run this version of Virtua Fighter 3 because it is just that much fun. So hopefully soon Sega shows off some more previews for Virtua Fighter 6. I'd love to see where it is going, but short of that, we're done. If you want that tutorial, leave me a comment down below and I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.